Work, for most of us, is an everyday fact of life. It can be a source of great satisfaction or stress and frustration. How can we find success and fulfillment in our work? This week on The World Tomorrow, David Albert.
Today on The World Tomorrow, we're going to take a look at one of those big factors in life, one that determines how happy and successful we are. I'm talking about our attitudes toward work. You know, it's funny. Most of what we hear people say about work sounds pretty negative. We complain about having to go to work on Monday and how glad we are it's Friday. We talk about the long hours, low pay, the unreasonable boss, and the lazy fellow employees. Yet we tell each other to take it easy and don't work too hard. Most of us who are in the workforce spend about 1/4 of our lives at work. That's a lot of time to be spent in boredom, resentment, or frustration. But that's how it often is. We hate the job, resent the system, and feel cheated. We feel underpaid and unfulfilled, trapped in a rut. We can't wait for the clock to get around to quitting time so we can get away from it all. But when it really comes down to it, most of us are glad we have a job. We want to work, and we all realize that our work is essential to our happiness and fulfillment in life. Most of us genuinely want to work and wouldn't be happy if for some reason we couldn't. We also think of ourselves as pretty good workers and pride ourselves on being able to do a good job. So, recognizing the importance of work in our lives, today on The World Tomorrow, we're going to look at the subject of work from a unique perspective, God's perspective as found in His Word, the Bible. From that perspective, we'll ask what our attitudes toward work should be like. This is something we all need to think about if we're to be winners at work. Let's understand an important point. You can be a good worker, even a great worker, and get a lot of satisfaction and success from work. The choice is yours, not anyone else's. It's up to you. Psychologists would call this idea that each one of us determines his or her own success self-empowerment. And it's a critically important concept that winners at work deeply understand. Lots of people don't believe that their success is up to them. They think that their success is determined by powers and events outside their control. They talk about luck, fate, the breaks. They say it's who you know, not what you know. They point to economic conditions or the boss who didn't like them. Always something else or someone else is controlling and determining their success. Now, I'm not saying that none of these things have some influence, but good workers and successful people simply don't see other people, events, and circumstances controlling their lives. They see themselves as in charge and actively determining their ultimate success and happiness. As work analyst and researcher John T. Malloy writes, anyone can become a great worker. Great workers are not born, they're made. Almost every top worker I interviewed said that someone at some point in his life taught him how to work. Would you like to become a great employee? Perhaps ultimately a great employer? Or one who is happily self-employed? Would you like to develop good work attitudes and habits so that you can look forward to going to work and build a successful career? If you want to, you can. It all begins with your attitude. One of the most successful men I know is San Diego businessman Virgil Gordon. I met Mr. Gordon over 20 years ago when we were both just beginning our careers. He's not only successful in the sense of material prosperity, he's also a very happy, personally fulfilled family man. When I first knew Virgil Gordon, he was a construction worker. He made a little money on the side by cleaning up job sites when the project was completed. He'd go around with his old pickup truck picking up scrap lumber, plywood boards, and 2x4s, and later sell them to others. From that small beginning, he built a very successful lumber and building supply business, plus several other successful enterprises. He provides employment for many other people and has been honored by his community, voted San Diego's Businessman of the Year, and has been recognized by the state of California for his community involvement. Virgil Gordon has learned some things about work. Where'd you get your ideas about hard work?
Well, I would imagine that must have started years ago back in Louisiana. I was reared in a little small country town back in Louisiana where there's corn and soybeans and cotton raised, and therefore my parents didn't own a farm, but we would do farm labor work. And my mother was quite a stickler for work, and she taught us that we must go at it with all of our might if we were to earn enough to be successful in the cotton industry, to really pick enough cotton, and then you're only getting $2 a 100 pounds at those days.
Job satisfaction. What makes for job satisfaction?
Again, we'd have to go back to attitude. I believe attitude is everything. That is going to get you in the door. That is going to get the job. If your attitude is, no matter what it takes, I always come early and I always stay late. No matter what it takes, I will find a way to bring a value to my employer. So I believe the attitude is 99% of.
What Virgil Gordon told me is what every really successful person has learned, and that is you have to have the right attitude toward work, a positive, winning attitude coupled with good work habits. Notice his statement, attitude is everything. Attitude does make a tremendous difference, and only you determine what your attitude toward work is going to be. No one can stop you from having a winning attitude toward work. Work doesn't start on the job. It starts in your mind. You and only you make a decision about whether you'll like it or not. If you decide you don't like the job, you're beaten before you start. Successful people like Virgil Gordon have a positive attitude. Work is seen as a means to accomplishment. They don't focus on the pain or the long hours. They focus on moving forward, getting things done, achieving goals and dreams. They see work as rewarding, even fun. They like their work and look forward to doing it. Those are good work attitudes.
My mother always told me, nothing is hard except what you do not want to do. If the attitude of, I don't like this, I don't want to do this, that'll make it very, very difficult for you to achieve and to accomplish. But once you get the attitude, well, this is a piece of cake, I'm going to hurry along and get it done so I can get on to something else. That will help you to move on past what a difficult situation might have been, turn it into a positive situation and make it a joy.
Do you have good work attitudes? Or do you only see work as a necessary evil? Your attitude toward work makes all the difference. In God's Word, the Bible, we find many positive statements about work that can shape our work attitudes. We're going to look at some of these enduring principles in the program today. In the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, verse 10, we read, "Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with your might." In other words, put your will and your energy into the task. Be energetic and enthusiastic about your work. Today, many workers have lost that attitude toward work. They only work if they have to. They have unproductive work attitudes. Proverbs 14:23 contains an important truth. In all labor, there is profit. In other words, work pays off. It yields accomplishment and achievement. That's important to understand. Most of us would like to achieve something in life, and we admire others who are productive and get things done. But you can't achieve much of anything without hard work. God is an achiever, and He and His Son, Jesus Christ, are also workers. Jesus, in John 5:17, said, "My Father has been working until now, and I have been working." Work is a part of God's right way of life. an expression of his nature and character. He himself is an achiever and has the right attitude toward work. And he can help you do the same. His word is full of principles that create these attitudes within us. Notice what Solomon was inspired to write in Ecclesiastes 2:24. There is nothing better for a man than that he should eat and drink, and that his soul should enjoy good in his labor. This also I saw was from the hand of God. So the attitude you have toward work is very important. Unfortunately, many of us have grown up with a negative, resentful attitude toward work. It's hard to change that later in life, but it can be done. It's a tremendous gift when these attitudes can be instilled from an early age. It's often what we hear about work as children that shape our lifelong work attitudes.
I had an uncle, Uncle Newt, and he was kind of assigned to me to help me since my father was no longer home. He was assigned to help me to learn to work, and that was his total commitment, that I'll teach this boy how to work. And I was not to draw a salary from Uncle Newt. I was just to go with him and be taught by him how to work, and he taught me well.
Work expert John Malloy also has some wise words on this subject based on his research. The first thing parents in this country must do is teach their children that productivity is important. I know we all give lip service to that ideal, but the fact is many of us do not live up to it. Productive children are the product of productive parents, or at least parents who teach the value of being productive in the home, who teach the value of hard work, and who equate hard work with success. Even if you don't believe that hard work is the key to success, teach this to your children, because our research shows that if your children don't believe that, they're less likely to succeed. So teach your child or children to be productive, to be achievers, to equate hard work with success. What a gift it is to be given this approach to life. And what a curse not to have been given these winning attitudes and approaches. If you're a parent or an influential person in the lives of young people, give them the precious gift of the right attitude toward work. Teach them, coach them, train them to be good workers. We realize that this isn't a simple task. This is one of the most important aspects of life that you and your family will have to deal with. Now, we have prepared two pieces of literature that we'd like to offer you today on this important subject of work and instilling the right work ethic. The first is Winning at Work, which covers a variety of topics concerning this subject. Here's an important article entitled, Good Jobs. You Can Find Them. It shows you how to track down and keep the job you want. Here's another one dealing with unemployment. Make a job out of getting a job. And an article designed to help teenagers facing tough choices entitled, Think Twice. This booklet, Winning at Work, will also show you how to improve your job satisfaction. Additionally, I'd like to offer you The 7 Laws of Success, which is a virtual classic among this type of information and one of the most requested pieces of literature we've ever offered our viewers. There are laws which, if followed, will guarantee true success in life, not just material success. No one ever need live a life of frustration and unhappiness. Now, both of these booklets, The 7 Laws of Success and Winning at Work, are yours free of charge with no cost and no obligation. And if you're not already a subscriber, we'll also be sending you a free subscription to the Plain Truth magazine for as long as you want. This unique publication shows you how God's Word is relevant in today's modern world. Remember that all of our literature is free of charge, and I'll be offering all of this again at the end of today's program. Now let's continue to take a closer look at our attitudes and approaches to work. As I said earlier, we must first enjoy our work. The second principle one must have to be a success in the world of work is a right attitude toward management and the employer. During his 20 years as a successful businessman, Virgil Gordon has had the opportunity to hire and work with many employees. So I asked him, what advice he would give a prospective employee.
First, if you're going to be successful at finding a good job, you have to transfer, or you have to convey to the employer that you're willing to do whatever it takes to make a success of this job. You're willing to come early, to stay late. You're willing to take extra trainings on your own to learn the job, to find out more about the different aspects of helping and serving that particular employer so that you can be of value. I don't believe you can come necessarily in every case with a value to offer, but you can train yourself. And I believe that is needed today in today's marketplace.
Recently, we interviewed in our studios Michael Harkins, who's the president of Associated Business Consultants. Mr. Harkins' position finds him constantly recruiting, screening, and recommending employees to various employers, particularly for middle-level management positions. One of the questions I asked him concerned the attitude he looks for in recommending applicants for management positions.
If there's anything that's going to knock out a candidate, I don't care how well he presents himself during the interview, I don't care what the skills are. Believe me, I don't care what his capabilities are. If he runs his boss to the ground, he'll never get past me. No company wants to hire a prima donna. Nobody wants to bring in an individual who's going to stick out like a sore thumb. They want people who will be responsive to direction. They want teamwork. They want people who will work as a cohesive group to make things happen and to support the goals of the organization. A client that we have in the Midwest, we used to do quite a bit of work with. The president of the firm had some unusual characteristics that perhaps were a little difficult to work with. And the company was named after him. He had an outstanding secretary. And I was talking with her one day, and she told me about complaints that people were complaining to her about the actions of her boss. And she said, as long as his name is on the building out front, and I work for him, I'm going to do exactly what he wants, to the best of my ability. And I'll tell you, she was outstanding.
We live in a time of strained relations between management and employees, where many employees have an attitude, as we say, toward virtually anyone in authority. People who have an uncooperative or hostile attitude toward the management or employer will have many problems on the job. Inability to get along with management and fellow employees is usually cited as the #1 reason for people being fired from their jobs. But that needn't happen to you. Let's put this in perspective. Working for someone automatically implies the employer has certain direction and authority over that job and those who would fulfill it. That needn't be a big problem, and there's no point in fighting reality. Here again, the Bible can help shape our work attitudes with scriptures like Colossians chapter 3, verses 22 through 24. Though the passage is addressed to servants, it readily applies to all employees even today. Servants, obey in all things your masters according to the flesh, not with eye service as men pleasers, but in sincerity of heart, fearing God. And whatever you do, do it heartily, as to the Lord and not to men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of the inheritance, for you serve the Lord Christ. Do you work heartily, cheerfully, and enthusiastically for your employer, as though you were working directly for God? That kind of effort and full cooperation brings with it a lot of favor and goodwill. Such employees are the first to be hired and the last to be let go. They make their own job security and build a winning reputation as a worker. So learn to take and respond to orders and directives cheerfully. Be respectful and cooperative. Be honest and fair with your employer. Give him a full day's work for a full day's pay. Show him or her you're an employee to be valued and trusted. Cultivate the right attitude toward bosses and employers if you want to succeed at work. Third and finally today, we all need to examine our attitude towards success. What is real success anyway? Is it making a lot of money? That's how many people define success today. Is it fame or being put in a position of great authority and importance over a lot of people? I asked Virgil Gordon what was his own personal definition of success.
I think success is happiness, getting some joy out of life, lifestyle. I think happiness is touching as many people with your success as you can, reaching as far as you can reach, doing as much as you can do, being eager every day to get up and see what you can accomplish, to go as far as you can go. To me, that's happiness. The excitement of what's next is truly a joy for me. I look forward to every day. I can hardly wait for the sun to rise so I can get at it. Happiness is enjoying your work.
Notice that money didn't appear in that definition, but the family and helping other people did. In the Western world today, money has become a greatly overrated success factor. Success and job satisfaction can't come from money alone, and people who try to equate success with money are often very frustrated and unhappy, especially if they lose their money, as so many did in the recent worldwide stock market crash of October 1987. We have come to expect a constant uphill progression in our careers, usually called upward mobility, which means more of everything, more money, more power, more fame, always onward and upward. But is this realistic? Is getting more of everything the right way to job satisfaction and true success? For most people, that is totally unrealistic and virtually impossible. It presumes an abundant supply of resources, such as health and energy, youthful vitality, good education, time, and money. Some, very few actually, have those kinds of resources and can, for a while at least, be upwardly mobile, as we say. But the average man or woman with far less education and limited resources, can those people be successes too? Can they know job satisfaction even if they don't move up very much in wages and earnings? There are, after all, limits to what we can change. Some things we need to accept: our age, health problems, handicaps, limited employment opportunities where you live, your family situation. It's important that we define success in a way that includes everyone. Sometimes the wisest course is to take stock of what we have been given and be content. As the book of Hebrews says in chapter 13, verse 5, "Let your conduct be without covetousness, and be content with such things as you have." The contentment factor, another of those factors we do have control over, is a big part of a right attitude toward success. Without it, nothing we ever do is enough, and we're forced to conclude our lives as failures because we've not attained enough of some standard of accomplishment. Don't make that mistake. The desire for more and more will spoil the satisfaction of what you've already achieved. So let's see work in balance, and see it from a right and godly perspective. True job satisfaction and lasting success comes from doing our work God's way, according to the principles of His Word. We can't all change our job or our circumstances, but we can change our attitudes. That's something you have 100% control over, and your attitude to your job is the factor that makes the difference. To help you understand these important principles better, I would like to offer you these 2 free booklets. First, this booklet, Winning at Work, will help you in your profession or field of employment, and whether you're currently seeking a job or whether you're dissatisfied with your present job, there are articles showing you how to be successful at work. For those of you who are unemployed or facing important decisions regarding your choice of job or profession, these vital articles will be of help to you. Computers, changing the way you work. Another one on good jobs. You can find them. It shows you how to locate and keep the job you need. In addition to this booklet, Winning at Work, we'd also like to send you a copy of The 7 Laws of Success. It will help you begin to find what you're really looking for deep down in your life, whoever you are and whatever your circumstances. Most successful people have followed the first 6 of these laws, such as goal setting, education, drive, resourcefulness, But too often people have overlooked the most important law that ensures true and lasting success, success that goes beyond wealth and status. This booklet, The 7 Laws of Success, explains what that important 7th law is. And if you're not already a subscriber, we'll also be sending you a free subscription for as long as you like to one of the world's most widely circulated magazines, The Plain Truth. It's published in 7 languages and read by millions worldwide. The Plain Truth gives you an understanding of the events occurring in the world through the light of Bible prophecy. And The Plain Truth is also a family magazine with articles that will help you and your family to improve your life. Articles on successful living, handling your finances, challenging and interesting articles that you won't find in any other publication. As you probably know, we have nothing to sell on the World Tomorrow program. We want to give you this vital information. All of our publications are free of charge, no cost, and no obligation. So for a free subscription to The Plain Truth and the free booklets Winning at Work and the 7 Laws of Success, please telephone for the cost of a local call 008-074-222. That's 008-074-222. We have many operators waiting, but if you don't get through right away, call us again in 10 or 15 minutes. That's 008-074-222. Or if you prefer to write, then send your request to The World Tomorrow, GPO Box 345, Sydney, New South Wales, 2001. That's The World Tomorrow, GPO Box 345, Sydney, New South Wales, 2001. Next week on The World Tomorrow, David Hume will be taking a unique look at an age-old book, the Bible. The Bible is one of the most popular books in the world. Nearly every home has one, but few people ever really looked into it to see what it has to say. Is it merely a collection of myths and interesting stories, or is it the living, inspired Word of God with a vital message for us today? Don't miss next week's program, Bestseller. Thanks for being with us today. I'm David Albert for The World Tomorrow.
For the free literature offered on this program, write to The World Tomorrow, GPO Box 345, Sydney, New South Wales, 2001. Or for the cost of a local call, please telephone 008-074-222. That's The World Tomorrow, GPO Box 345, Sydney, New South Wales, 2001. Or for the cost of a local call, please telephone 008-074-222. The preceding program and all literature were produced and sponsored by the Worldwide Church of God.